Guys, let's talk about the other big news in the community. The InArt Joker was released. Is it worthy of the hype? We need to talk about this. And there's two different things we can share. I know Big Bretta Joao, awesome YouTube content creator, did a review. So I'll bring that one up real quick first, because I know Joao, like I said, did that review. And it's doing super well for him. Super thrilled that he was able to show the Joker, the InArt Joker, and it looks pretty great in the videos. So the question is it worthy of the hype? And I'm actually going to start with Carlos, because I know I think you might have, I don't know, I'm pretty excited about this. You might have been even more excited than I was about it. But nonetheless, is this InArt Joker worthy of the hype? And I'm going to show the Rooted 2-pack that Joao did his review of. And there's the first head sculpt, as you can see. But Carlos, I'll let you jump in here. What do you think?
So how good is it?
Is it worthy of the hype? Because it's $1,000. Like, we were all really hyped about it, but there were a lot of skeptics in the community, Carlos, that were like, "Well, InArt hasn't released anything. You guys are crowning them, whatever." So, is this worthy of the hype that we were, heaping the praise on them for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think from day one there was a lot of people that were rooting for InArt to fail, or believe that they would. I definitely didn't think so. I think it is 100% worth the hype. Like I said, this figure it's just pretty much close to perfection. You're getting that custom style head sculpt, the tailoring. There's little nitpicks here and there that I've heard from other people, like from Ben. Something about the ankles and just little things, but they're so minor that if that's the worst thing we're talking about is about an ankle, then I'll live with it. Like, just because the ankle, kind of indents a little bit, right, because of the joint, but no one's really looking at that kind of stuff. Yeah, so you can't even see it only when you're sitting down. But worth the hype, man, 100%. At this point, anyone who is saying this looks like crap or it doesn't look very good or it's just not worth it, I don't know, man. It's just like, we can all have, our opinions. That's fine. You don't have to love this, but I just find it really difficult for someone not to be into this or for them to believe that it's not worth the hype. I just think this looks great. Now, is it expensive? Yes, but I mean, I feel like you're getting your money's worth, right? It's $1,000, but you're getting two figures, you're getting two different expressions, you're getting a real die-cast jail cell, wooden base, magnetic joints, seamless arms, just really everything that is almost perfection. I mean, even the guns are just everything about it. So it's funny because Sean had said this is like the hopefully he doesn't get mad that I say this, but this is right now the best 1/6 figure ever made. And I'm finding it very difficult. Yeah, very difficult disagreeing with that, because you can even say like this fucker can pose from what I've seen. You know what I mean? So I don't really see a lot of wrong with it. So 100% the hype. If you can buy it, that's great. If with there's a sculpted version, which, hey, Kiko and I are doing that giveaway. So if you want to go to the Facebook group, but or that rooted version or whatever it is, man, 100% into it. And I've said this, that if InArt knocks out the Gandalf and then knock it out of the park with Pennywise, dude, pre-ordering this fuckers anything in the future is going to be like the J&D hype. They're gonna sell out. They're gonna be a ton of people going after it because they understand the quality. Their first figure, and hey, they did exactly what they promised for the price point. I don't know. I'm trying to actually find reasons that I don't like this, and I just can't. So
right. I mean, look at that, Carlos. Look at that shot right there, bro.
I just don't see how you don't love it. You know what I mean? At this point, like I said, there's tiny little things, but I mean, I wish like those were the tiny things we were only complaining about Hot Toys. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, Chiquiko, before I jump to you on this one, I think it's been really interesting, like Carlos was talking about, and this is, definitely not everyone, right? It's just maybe, I guess there's certain people and others in the community, but I did kind of notice a little bit of a sentiment that I found very interesting, like rooting for InArt to fail. Like, it was very interesting. Like, they wanted, I don't know what that was about. I just found that a very interesting, like phenomenon, I guess you could say, because it was like, well, it's always good to be skeptical. I've said that from the beginning. Like, you can be skeptical. This is expensive. This is a very expensive 2-pack. It's $1,000, right? It's not cheap, and it's rooted. But I mean, really, when you look at what you're getting for the value and what you pay for customs or whatever, this is a pretty damn good value. Honestly, that's what I believe. So yes, it's expensive, but it came out really great. I mean, we don't have them in hand yet for us, but I mean, I trust Joao, and Joao gave a very positive review. I should hopefully have mine soon, and then I can tell you guys what I think also. But I'm really, really excited to see this, and I do think it's lived up to the hype. But what do you think, Kiko? Like, why is this? Well, so two-part. Is this lived up to the hype for you, and why do you think maybe there were some people out there that were kind of like that maybe wanted this to fail?
That's a great question as to why people want it to fail. I don't really know why that would be a thing. If unless they have like some stake in another company and they're like,
Right.
okay, the only reason I want this to fail is so my company does better. But it's one of those things, competition breeds excellence, and, it's pushing the envelope. As soon as InArt started releasing these teasers and previews and things like that, we started getting more diorama bases from Hot Toys. We started getting the PRS system on all the figures. We started getting the USB cables for the lightsabers and things. I mean, you can say it's all coincidence, but perhaps it's answering the bell. I'm okay with that. If I want to be real nitpicky, the only thing I would say is I think the colors are a little bit too loud. That's the only thing I could say. Maybe it's just because the way the film was shot, it's a little more muted. I think these are a little high in contrast, but that's it. I mean, this is an excellent figure. There's no denying that. And if you are saying that it's a poor character or a bad representation, it's find something better then, because you're not going to. And that's not just me being a honk or a shill or anything like that. I am waiting for mine when it does come, and I actually moved around some things in the display today in anticipation of it coming, so that he can have a nice proper space. So I'm excited for it. And as I talked about, if InArt continues to deliver, they will get my business, because I really want to see what these Game of Thrones figures look like. I need a legit Daenerys, and the ones I have are not doing it for me. If I can get a Daenerys that is similar to this, all day, baby. So yeah, I mean, no one should root for something that gives you pleasure and other people pleasure, and it's a hobby. That's like saying, hey, I hope all these teams go under because I don't like that team, type of thing. Okay,
Right.
well, that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's just bitter, miserable people that have nothing better to do, I'm sure.
Because actually, it's and I won't say who it was, but I actually heard once the final photos came out of this one, not like the proto, not the one from Vic, but the actual final ones. Just a few days ago, someone said that the rooted version, it looked like crap, right? And Will knows who I'm referring to, and it looked like crap. It's not worth it. They're just scamming us, and it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna have that harsh of an opinion, I feel like, I don't know, I can't really trust anything you say at that point if you're going to be that delusional, at this point. Because I mean, it's one thing to say like, hey, it's yeah, it looks good, not for me, okay. But for say it looks like crap or they're scamming us, it's just like, dude, I don't know what's going on with you, but I don't know. I'll stop there.
No,
I mean, that's a perfect example, because here's a little sports talk for you, is that's like saying the Bengals are an objectively bad team because you don't like them, essentially. When the Bengals are an objectively bad team, or they suck, and they're like, oh, Kansas City is so much better than the Bengals. Yeah, we've beat you 3 times in the calendar year. So, I mean, objectively, you cannot say that. And so that's a great point, Carlos.
Yeah, and I don't want to misrepresent any arguments, because I think, like I said, there's a very fine line between skepticism and rooting for failure. I think those are two very different things. And not everyone was rooting for failure. I mean, and again, this is not a victory lap by any stretch, because we don't really have them in hand. And like I said, I've always said from the beginning, like, I think they look great as far as prototypes go, but let's see what we get in hand, right? I think InArt's really knocking it out of the park with prototypes, but I don't have this Joker yet, so I don't really know. But like I said, I do trust Joao, and I trust the unboxing that we've seen, and just really excited to see kind of what the next steps are going to be. So for me, I just think this looks great, and I think it is worthy of the hype. I did see a comment saying it's not worth $2K, but it doesn't cost $2K. It costs $1K. So maybe it's not worth $2,000, but I do think it is worth $1,000. I think that's going to be subjective. I know some people have said they don't think it's worth $1,000. I do personally. I just think with the rooted hair and everything involved, I die-cast parts and die-cast dioramas and wood and and movable eyes. I think it's worth it personally. But that's me.
Let's say you don't. Let's say $1,000 is too much. That's fair, right? That's a fair point. Well, they also have a sculpted version.
Yeah, there's
which
like
was-
4 options.
Right, which was like $330. And the sculpted version looks pretty good. It only comes with the purple coat. And that was $330, $350 shipped. Because the reality is, let's be honest, Hot Toys cannot do rooted. They can't. Right? If you believe that they can, I'm sorry, but you're just wrong. And it is what it is. So they're gonna, if they do a rooted version, if they do a Joker, they're gonna do a sculpted version. And so you can get a Hot Toy like price from InArt, and they're giving you the sculpted version, which again we are giving away for free as a giveaway. But so if it's too much, go get the sculpted version. Hot Toys is not going to give you rooted. They suck at rooted, so you don't want it, and regardless. And their Hot Toy Joker would be what, 300, 350, roughly the same as InArt.
Right.
So it's very comparable. No one's saying you have to get $1,000 one. Because you're like, oh, well, I want to stick with Hot Toy prices. Well, then stick with Hot Toy sculpted hair too and get the 330 one.
And I do think, Carlos, it's fair to say, and I think InArt learned from this, they should have released a rooted 1-pack. I think they know that now because it was their first figure and they were like, well, how should we approach this? How should we do it? They should have been a rooted 2-pack and a rooted 1-pack. And I think they know that now, but it was their first release. And I think moving forward, we've seen that they've done that for every other figure. So I thought maybe they would give Pennywise a 2-pack also. I would have loved that. I would have loved that where you got both, 2 bodies and 2 head sculpts. I think that would have been great, but they decided not to. So, but with Batman, we saw that, Carlos. We could see Batman and Bruce Wayne, but you can also get them individually if you want.
Right.
So I think InArt learned from this. So yeah.
Would you have wanted them to stick to the rooted version to be in the 2-pack?
So for what, for Heath?
For just everything moving forward, like you only get the rooted if you get like the maximum version.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. Yeah. I personally like how they separated it into like 3 different versions. I like that. Like you get the sculpted for the single, rooted single, and you can get a rooted 2-pack if you want. Like I said, I wish Pennywise had that. But
my only pushback would be that, as we all know, the more SKUs, the more they sit. So the more options, the more things get worse. As opposed to saying, this is the, sculpted, here's the rooted, here are 2 price points. That's the only reason I'm saying, like the blurg, there's so many different, but it's also the blurg. I guess it's not a good comparison, but just when there's so many SKUs of anything, things just never do well. That's the only pushback I would, but there's a brand new market for them. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong.
Could be.